You are on the 14th Step, a podcast about addiction and recovery. My name is Mark. I'm a professional counselor and a recovered addict.
My name is Skip, and I am a recovering addict and a recovery coach.
Cool. We got it just for today.
We do. You ready?
Let's read it.
All right.
I'm going to pick today's. This is February 17th.
Okay, great.
It says, carrying the message, not the addict. They can be analyzed, counseled, reasoned with, prayed over, threatened, beaten, or locked up, but they will not stop until they want to stop. That's from the basic text of Narcotics Anonymous. Perhaps one of the most difficult truths we must face in our recovery is that we are as powerless over another's addiction as we are over our own. We may think that because we've had a spiritual awakening in our own lives, we should be able to persuade another addict to find recovery. But there are limits to what we can do to help another addict. We cannot force them to stop using. We cannot give them the results of the steps or grow for them. We cannot take away their loneliness or their pain. There's nothing we can say to convince a scared addict to surrender the familiar misery of addiction for the frightening uncertainty of recovery. We cannot jump inside other people's skin, shift their goals, or decide for them what is best for them. However, if we refuse to try to exert this power over another's addiction, we may help them. They may grow if we allow them to face reality, painful though it may be. They may become more productive by their own definition as long as we don't try and do it for them. They can become the authority on their own lives, provided we are only authorities on our own. If we can accept all this, we can become what we were meant to be, carriers of the message, not the addict. Just for today, I will accept that I am powerless not only over my own addiction, but also over everyone else's. I will carry the message and not the addict.
Man, that's really hits close to home.
The work that you do, you work with guys, and I work with guys too, and we see them relapse, and we see them make decisions that we wouldn't make for them.
And it's hard because in some way, if you call yourself a recovery coach or you are a professional counselor, it's sort of, I don't think there's any way you can help that you don't think it reflects on you if somebody fails that's you're trying to help.
That's the message that I get out of this reading for me personally. Because if I get so intertwined in the outcome of another person's recovery, then when and if they do relapse, or if they do, fall further down, or they disappear or whatever, or die, which happens, I can personalize that into a reflection of my own ability or my own recovery. And that's dangerous for me.
It is real dangerous. There was something in the reading that said if we push our own, agenda or our own thought on that, it can actually do them damage, right? Isn't that what it said? It can enable them?
Yeah, and 12-step recovery really tries to prevent people from telling other people what to do.
Yes.
And I think that's so important when we're sharing in meetings. You never hear someone say, well, I think you should do this, I think you should do that. It's just, this is what I've been through. This is what's worked for me.
You know what? That's very interesting because at a meeting, no one has to say that out loud. It's not like you have to give explicit orders. Hey, don't tell somebody what to do. How does that happen so naturally?
I think it's the culture of the meeting. If the people that are already there have already been doing it, someone who's new...
They set the pace, sort of?
Yeah, they set the pace.
I think that's right.
I had an old-timer once, a friend of mine who was in the program, and he would say, I've sponsored hundreds of guys in my days, and every one of them was successful. And he said, because I stayed sober through all of it. But that's how he measured success for people that he sponsored.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because, even if half of them relapse, he considered it successful because he stayed sober.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's pretty sage advice.
I think it is. Because we're asked to work with people. It's part of the program to work with other addicts.
I wonder if there's people that are financial coaches that help people with investments or try to help people and do this, and then the people don't save their money the way they should or invest it the way they should, And if they all of a sudden lose all their fortune in the next day because they go, I'm a failure and give it all up. Or can you imagine if it's an organizer trying to come organize your home and they come in the next week and your house looks like a tornado hit it and they go, I give up. And their whole house
everything just goes
Every
down.
walk of life has the same issue, right?
But I think we in particular have the issue. And I think that's why there's so much
because we're this close to just saying screw it all.
Like if I'm an organizer and then my client doesn't do what I want, like worst case scenario, maybe I'm down for a little bit. But worst case scenario for us, if we invest too much and get too codependent on people that we're trying to get sober, that's risk for me to go out and use. And that's everything to me. Because
the symptoms of us using in the first place were our own bad feelings about ourselves.
Yeah, and also our overestimation of how much impact we actually have over people.
Oh boy, that's a whole nother
that's
just for this year.
Yeah,
not just for today.
Because we think that in a way everyone kind of revolves around us and everyone's thinking about us and we have this profound effect on other people when we really don't.
Freud was right. You mean ego?
Yeah. That's that
the
ego.
world revolves around me?
That's that ego.
How many skips does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1. I hold it and the world revolves around me.
That's right. All you got to do is stand there.
That's so true. I mean, I'm learning the more as I go with guys that I'm coaching. I fight so hard because when there's silence, I want to fill it with myself talking.
Yeah.
Or I want to fill it with something. And I have to be... I'm learning every single day that sometimes awkward silence is good. Also, I'm learning how to ask questions without me trying to tell them what to do. Because that's even a whole nother layer of this is what if you do give advice and it's the wrong advice and they mess up, then they may have something against you, and then how bad does that go?
I train counselors who are coming up and wanting to work in the field, and I tell them, people think counseling is an advice-giving job, but it's really not. I tell counselors not to give advice unless someone's in a crisis. If someone's in a crisis and they just need a place to sleep that night, then I'll give them advice. Well, why don't you call this place or call that place? But if it's some life kind of thing or a relationship thing, people have to come to their own conclusions. And really, people just want someone to listen to.
And maybe give them some motivation, right?
Motivation is right.
Mm-hmm.
I get family members who say, well, my brother's using, or my mom is using, or my son is using, or whatever. And they're like, what can I do for that person? And I always tell them the same thing. The best thing that you can do for an addict who's using is stay clean yourself. Because they might have that moment where they're ready to talk to someone. And if you're using when they have that moment, you're going to be no good for them.
Right. Yep. Or maybe that one moment of clarity, right? But when you're talking to somebody, you can. It's almost better that you're just a good listener.
Yeah.
And you strategically
you kind of want to
ask questions back to them and just show them that you're listening. I got a call yesterday just out of the blue, and they called me 2 or 3 times and didn't leave a message, and finally it rang again and I answered, and it was a grandmother. And it said, I got your number from this. My daughter is drinking and abusing alcohol and I need to know what to do. Yeah. Can you help me? That's just this cold phone call.
That's a tough one.
And I said...
The parents and grandparents are the hardest.
It's the hardest. And I just said, well, can I call you back? I was literally... And I said, I'm going to text you a resource of meetings that are offered in your area. So I did that. And then I tried to call her back and she didn't answer. But the family members don't have any idea what to do.
Mm-mm.
And they're desperate. And it seems like they're more desperate sometimes than the people that are in it to try to get help.
It's so hard when I get calls from parents who are grieving their sons and daughters who are out there using meth, and they know that they're in danger, and they'll ask me because they really don't know what to do. Should I let them move in? Should I let them stay in jail? What should I do? Those are the hardest questions that I ponder. I don't ever know what to say. I don't know if there is a good answer.
I don't think there is a good answer. Because it's the same thing as what if the answer you give doesn't work?
That's right.
Then are they gonna quit asking for help then? You know, there's no answer.
The parental thing.
It's got to be your own. It's got to be you who helps yourself.
You have
and
to
you
help
have
yourself.
to be in the mindset of wanting it bad enough for yourself, because when anybody else is trying to help you or is the power that's going to help you, they don't have the answers.
Right.
Only you can get the answer for you.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
Just for today.
Just for today.
Just for today. I'm not going to solve anybody's problems but my own.
That's good.
Right?
That is very good advice.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks.